it looks like we have everyone logged in that's been registered, maybe a few more. And so I'm going to start before 2:02, just to be respectful of everyone's time. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us today for the TruStage digital storefront presentation. We have Samantha Ziesemer.
Ziesemer.
Ziesemer. Okay, sorry about that.
Yep.
She's a TruStage Director of Product Management, and Samantha leads the Product and TruStage FinTech Solutions divisions. She's brought the digital lending experience, DLX, lending point of sale product to market in 2020, and led the digital storefront cloud build out. Sam has worked at TruStage for 11 years in a variety of technology and product roles. And prior to her time at TruStage, she worked in global healthcare technology. It's my pleasure to welcome Sam. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Like Dean said, my name is Samantha Ziesemer. I'm from TruStage. I work in our FinTech Solutions division. And the primary product that I'm going to be talking about today is our digital storefront. You may know digital storefront by another name. So this is the QNexus product. TruStage acquired QNexus several years ago. And we are just finishing up a couple-year build out of migrating that QNexus product to our SaaS cloud platform. So excited to share kind of a refreshed look of the digital storefront product and all of the work that's gone into moving that into the cloud, and then enhancements that we've made along the way. But so this is not just around the storefront. I wanted to kind of lead into a demo talking about a recent survey that we did with 75 credit unions that is around marketing campaigns. And I think it's always interesting to learn from peers of what they're seeing on the ground, and kind of gut check that with what you're seeing and compare and see if you have the same kind of takeaways or sentiments. So we'll spend the first part kind of going through some of the results of that survey around marketing campaigns as it relates to targeting non-members. And then I want to talk a little bit more around how we harness data that is within the walls of your credit union and with some key strategic partners potentially, to really deepen member engagement for those members that you have. So we'll go through some more research-based theory and insights from some studies that I've been looking at over the last couple of months. And then we'll close out with a look at the digital storefront and how we've taken some of those insights and put them into practice. We'll have time for Q&A at the end, but if you have questions along the way, please feel free to put them in the chat. I have my colleague Lori here, and so she may be able to answer some of those on the fly, but rest assured we'll get to them at the end. I believe there will be time for that. Okay. So like I mentioned, the first thing I wanted to share is the results of this survey that we completed, and this was a TruStage-led survey. We got to 75 different credit unions. You can see the difference of asset size, so pretty well split between credit unions that were over 500 million in assets and credit unions that were under. And the survey was really trying to gauge satisfaction and success and performance results as it related to trying to target prospective members. So trying to target new members for your credit union to drive growth based on new member acquisition. And again, wanted to share some of this. I think it's interesting to kind of hear from peers in your peer group of what you're seeing as it relates to different topics or tactics. And the first kind of takeaway from the study is that targeting new members or running prospective member campaigns is expensive. And again, some of you might be like, I live this, I'm living this every day. But it's expensive. A lot of times you're having to pay for the list of targets, and then you are having to spend time doing identity verification. You may have digital onboarding, which is great, but then you're having to spend time and resource cost on any exceptions or members that kind of fall out of the primary flow from a digital onboarding perspective. And so that's kind of takeaway number one, is we're seeing for these credit unions that are attempting to drive their growth with attracting new members to their credit union, it's a pricey endeavor. And then the next kind of piece is it's not only pricey, but it's also hard. There are so many vendors in the market that have a piece of this process. You can see just within 75 credit unions, like the number of vendors that they are working with. It's hard to know who to work with, who's going to yield the best results. A lot of times you're having to couple multiple vendors together to run these prospective member campaigns. And then you're running into kind of issues along the way. Like it's difficult sometimes to obtain email addresses. So you might have a list of targeted members, but you only have their mailing address. So then that limits the type of marketing materials you're able to do. Again, multiple vendors typically involved, and then those onboarding steps. Again, most of you, I'm sure, have some digital onboarding tool or workflow at this point. But there always are going to be those exceptions or those folks that fall out of the funnel, or for potentially folks who are less comfortable going through that digital flow. And then finally, the performance results of those prospective member campaigns don't always meet expectations. And so you can see here, a listing of what are the top challenges with running these prospective member campaigns. Number one was about those emails. It's hard to get the email address. So then having to add in the cost of postage adds to the price of the campaign. Poor response rate for email campaigns, poor response rate to mail campaigns. And so with all the effort and cost associated with the prospective member campaigns, what we heard back from this survey is the results tend not to meet expectations either. And so why am I saying all this? Like, it's not to say don't try this tactic. There are several credit unions, and depending on your charter, potentially, it is a great way to grow your credit union, to attract new members, to again look at your demographics to see if you need to attract younger members. But there's also a parallel strategy of how do you really deepen the relationships with the members that you have, and how do you do that, and what data do you have within the walls of your credit union or with a key partner that are going to allow you to help deepen those relationships. And so I called out a stat from this study that I've spent a lot of time digesting. I recommend you take a look at it. It's from 2023, but it came out late in 2023. So a lot of the insights are still really relevant to today. It's the Accenture Banking Consumer Study. And one of the stats it highlights is this idea that there is a trend that consumers, and especially younger consumers, they're seeing this twice as frequently, are going outside of their primary institution for new products. So 6 out of 10 consumers in the last 12 months, from the point of the study, had gone outside of their primary institution to obtain a financial product from a new provider, and over-indexed in digital-only providers as well. And so we're seeing this trend of where you might have thought of your primary bank as the place that has most of your financial products. But according to the stat, it's really at this point for North American consumers who have an average of just over 7 products, less than half of those are within their primary financial institution. And so how do you retain the products that you have with your members? How do you attract them and incent them to not go outside of your credit union for their next financial product? How do you make them aware of the products and services that you may have available? And a lot of this comes down to harnessing the data that you have about those members. So I listed 3 buckets of data. You may have more than this at your credit union, but the key ones that we see used most often for this strategy of deepening product relationships within your current membership base are obviously your core. And so think about the data you have in your core. You have demographic data. You have what products that member has with your credit union. You have the time frame that they got those products in. So you know if they recently had an auto loan with you, or potentially if they got an auto loan several years ago. you have the balance information of those products. You couple that if you're leveraging a CRM, you also might have the last time you engaged with that member called in. You may have their preferred communication style or method. And then you start to kind of build this data set about your members. You can kind of start to segment them. I know some of you probably are way far down a path of segmentation of your member population, and you may have assigned them personas to kind of to help categorize the different types of members you have at your credit union. But if you haven't started that journey, I would start small. Think about core demographic data. Think about then matching that up with product sets. And then you can supplement with bureau data. And so what the bureau data really is going to give you is that broader lens of, hey, what products outside of my credit union would that member maybe have? You can see lending products, and you can see information and attributes about those lending products. And then obviously a lot of the credit score information from the bureau as well. And so all of this data pulled together starts to arm you with the tools that you need to start to personalize. And when I say personalize, I mean on a variety of different levers. I mean from a user interface perspective. So what imagery do you use to promote products and services? What copy? How do you talk to your member in a way that is going to resonate? How do you promote products that are going to be applicable to those different segments of members, those different personas of your member population? And then even going so far as if you know information about your member already that is going to adjust pricing, give them that pricing upfront. So if you're running promotions that have, if I have 7 qualifying services or premium checking, you give a discount, make sure that pricing includes that personalization aspect as well. Because as you can see from this quote, again, from that Accenture study, only 25% of consumers feel like their primary bank it performs extremely well when it comes to this personalization idea, where they think that that financial institution knows about them and knows what is happening from a financial perspective and is able to offer a curated set of products that is meaningful. And so different ways to think about this also are for these different, I just laid out some basic personas here, and this is mostly from a demographic perspective. So you may have members that are students early in career, all the way through late career retirement. And you can see the products that I've listed vary, right? And so this kind of, again, goes back to leveraging the data you have in-house to really serve up products that are going to make that member feel like you know what's going on with them. And you wouldn't offer the same set of services to someone early in career that you likely would want to promote and offer to someone who's well into retirement. So again, this idea of personalization, leveraging the data that you know about your members to make those offers and products feel very timely. And again, try to recapture those members from going outside of your financial institution, either from lack of awareness that the product or service existed, or that sentiment that their primary financial institution just doesn't know who they are. And the last point that I want to hit on before we kind of jump into how the digital storefront has applied some of these practices is, how do you cross-sell? So I thought this quote from the study was really interesting. It said 1/3 of the participants in the study would purchase big ticket non-financial products through a bank or credit union in this case, such as properties, cars, or travel. And so it just shows the mindset of the consumer is expanding. And a lot of this, I think, is due to just digital e-commerce intersections now of Costco is offering travel, obviously, and has been for a while. But Amazon services, Walmart services, all of the different sectors of e-commerce are starting to intersect much more frequently. And so that notion is more common now and intuitive for members to potentially expect from their financial institution as well. And so I say that to kind of just highlight the idea of thinking through how to use kind of techniques of embedded finance where you meet the member where they are in their primary flow to try to introduce potentially cross-sell opportunities for other products and services. So I highlighted where we have an option to position our gap insurance through a primary flow of an auto loan right within the redemption experience. And so it doesn't have to be like a protection product for lending, which is obviously very closely mashed to each other. You would expect to see some of those ancillary products going through. But if you have other products and services that you're trying to promote more, putting them in primary flows where your members are going to be interacting most frequently will highlight them in a way that they could easily take advantage. So if you have a new tool or a new product, or you're trying to promote a special share cert rate or a holiday loan, trying to put the details of that product or services in the primary flow that someone might be interacting with more frequently. So whether that's within the space of your home banking solution, if they're checking their account balances, or they're using bill pay services, or they're using transfer services, marketing those cross-sell opportunities in the primary flow that the consumer is in. Okay, so now we're going to spend some time talking about Digital Storefront. So this again is the product that I work primarily on within FinTech Solutions at TruStage. And what the Digital Storefront really is a marketing and enrollment platform, and it supports both lending products and deposit products. And it also has the ability to serve up any credit union product or service through the use of what we call wildcards. And these are kind of like blank tiles that we reserve space for on the Digital Storefront that, again, can promote any product or service that the credit union has available, and then really allows you to customize the experience of personalization for your individual members. So I'm going to hop out and show you a couple examples of what I mean by that. And this kind of goes along with the slide that I had earlier around different life stages that your members may be in, and how do we offer products and services that speak to those life stages. So here I'm pretending you're in the context of your home banking solution. You wouldn't see all these different names on the side, so each of these is just our test environment examples. But say I'm in Savannah's home banking experience, and I'm in the storefront. And at the top here, I can see different offers that I'm being served up from a featured offer perspective. You can see I'm already pre-approved. So one of the really cool things about the Digital Storefront is we leverage bureau data to pre-screen members. And so when a member comes into their home banking, they can immediately see they're already pre-approved and up to what amount. And so this is even a step further than a lot of solutions that have the member initiate kind of that credit check. That pre-screen allows these perpetual offers to just be available. So if Savannah's coming in and she is looking for details on a new car loan, maybe she's early in the experience, she can already see she's pre-approved and what amount up to. And this is all configured by rules in the background. But again, leveraging that bureau data to make it feel really personalized for Savannah. We know about her. She's already pre-approved. She can click to accept that offer. But you can see other products for Savannah. We have those deposit accounts I mentioned that the Digital Storefront supports. We have integrations right now with Scimitar, and soon to have integrations with Fiserv DNA that allow for direct account opening for these deposit products. And so we will actually fund and open that account within your core system without the need for any manual intervention from your staff. The loans would hit your loan origination solution. So for pre-approved loans, typically very minimal processing left. A lot of times for credit cards or personal loans, those might just go through without any manual intervention. But for the auto loans, any final steps then your staff can collect. But even that, a lot of our clients skip the credit check because they've already gone through that pre-screen process. You can also see that we're highlighting non-interest income earning products. So we'll highlight these both on the storefront, and then also, again, kind of that concept of cross-sell within the primary flow. We'll highlight them within redemption flows as well. We have credit cards. Again, Savannah's pre-approved for certain credit cards, maybe not for others. So this platinum card, she's not pre-approved for. She can go ahead and apply for it, but she is pre-approved for the other two cards. I've set up this storefront in a pretty lending focused way. So you saw I had auto loans, I had credit cards, personal loans. You can organize the storefront in however you see fit. So if you just want to have a just for you section at the top, or you want to highlight, hey, we have new services at the credit union, you can organize these sections in any way that you would like. And then that controls kind of the dynamic feature at the or filter at the top that Savannah can use to kind of jump around to see what is available. So I'm going to go down to a different member now just to kind of show you again the ability to personalize based on information that you may have already about your membership base. So I want to show you then just a different example, and this is Kennedy's storefront. So imagine I'm Kennedy now, I'm logging into my home banking. It'll look similar, but as I show you kind of the offers available to Kennedy, you can see that she has some different ones that Savannah has. And so Kennedy maybe is earlier in career. She is potentially in the vein of what we think might be a soon-to-be home buyer. So we're going to market some first-time home buyer information to her. So whether this is you have an educational resource or you have some training materials that you can guide Kennedy to, you can market that within the storefront, and that can link her out to a page that already exists within your credit union digital ecosystem, or it can have a staff member follow up with her. So lots of opportunities, again, to personalize what services and offers are available on these storefronts. Another example being, maybe you can see that Kennedy has student debt. She graduated not that long ago. She is still dealing with student debt. And maybe this is an opportunity you have at the credit union to talk to her about that debt. What are potential options for her in terms of her financial future, whether that's counseling or other mechanisms to help her with that debt consolidation. You can see Kennedy, based on her credit profile, also is going to be eligible for pre-approval. So she has pre-approved loans on her storefront as well as those ancillary products that you also saw on Savannah's storefront. Richard's going to have an even little different twist now. So Richard is now at the end of the spectrum. He is maybe nearing retirement. And so we're going to serve up to Richard a little tile here that is about planning for retirement. And again, this could link to tools you have available at your credit union. It could link to educational opportunities for Richard, or again, it could be just a, hey, Richard's interested, a staff member follows up with Richard to talk to them about what wealth management opportunities that you may have for Richard as he's nearing this retirement stage. Also, maybe you can tell that Richard's a pretty engaged member. So you want to offer up to Richard community meet and greets. Maybe there's a new branch opening and you can tell based on where Richard lives, again, from your core data, that this would be interesting to him to find out about. So you can market, hey, new branch is opening to those members in certain zip codes, or highlight community events or give back campaigns that are running. Again, that would be really interesting and drive that member engagement. And so the last example I just want to show around this personalization is Shelly's. Shelly is not going to qualify for pre-approvals. So based on her credit profile, you're only going to see applications to apply, which is fine. I mean, Shelly's still going to need access to credit, and so she needs a mechanism to apply for loans and lines of credit as well. But based on Shelly's financial profile, this might be a member that you really want to try to engage and show empathy towards needing some help. So whether that's debt counseling services, other opportunities that you have to engage Shelly, to help her with her financial planning. Again, whether that's education team opportunities or webinars that you may already have available. But I think we think about lending tools sometimes in a pretty narrow focus of only meeting members who have that credit profile that is going to be that guaranteed, approved, and funded loan. Whereas the digital storefront really does have all the tools to meet all of your members and really promote those tools and services for members who aren't in that top tier credit profile, but still drive engagement, still drive value. And again, deepen those relationships with your members based on the data you have. So it feels like Shelly's not coming out here and seeing a bunch of high dollar money market products where she would never have the balance that is needed to open those. So trying to be empathetic, trying to also serve up products and services that resonate and are going to show your members that you have an understanding of their financial picture and have tools and services to help them. So I'm going to go through just a quick full experience so you can kind of see how this works from taking advantage of one of these offers. I'm going to go through, just show you briefly what the new auto loan experience looks like. And again, this would hook up to your loan origination system. So once I fill out a couple remaining details for this pre-approved loan, that would hit your LOS. So for Savannah, I'm going to take advantage of this new auto loan offer. We do show this loan broken down between loan amount, but we also know there's a significant number of consumers who prefer to plan based on their monthly budget. So we also show the loan details broken down from a monthly payment perspective. So if Shelly knows, like, okay, phew, this is under the $900 that I have budgeted for this, she can go ahead and move forward, but then also play around with it within either view as well. Details and disclosures are configurable by your credit union. And then I'm going to show you the first placement that we have of that cross-sell opportunity. So we're going to, in this flow, cross-sell the GAP product. You can see we're also showing indications of interest opportunities for our warranty, mechanical repair coverage product. We're also showing credit, life, and disability, but we also have the ability to showcase any wildcard here. So wildcard, again, being those completely customizable offer tiles for any other product and services that you're looking to promote. So again, if you are looking to promote some type of new tool or new service or an announcement, you can embed that right within the flow as well. And there's 3 placement locations within a lending flow. This is the first one. And I'll show you the couple others as I move through this. So I'm going to go ahead and add that gap. This adds to my requested terms so I can see what that does to my monthly payment as well. And this again will hit your LOS, so your loan officer who's picking this up from an auto loan perspective will be able to see that gap indication as well. So we pre-fill as much as we can, again, coming from both your core and your home banking provider. The flow itself is also completely configurable. And so you as a credit union get to decide how many of these questions you want to ask for a pre-approved loan and then also for an application to apply. So obviously for an application, you're probably going to have a longer subset of questions that you want to ask, and that can differ by product obviously as well. For pre-approvals, it might be a skinnier, and we recommend a skinnier set of questions, only the questions that you may be looking to revalidate. But again, a lot of our clients really heavily rely on that pre-screen with the bureau to know someone is meeting that eligibility criteria and is going to go through and be approved. But you do have the ability to reconfirm certain pieces of that eligibility criteria to make sure nothing has changed. All right, so I'm going to put in, again, these couple of questions that are being asked to reconfirm the data for the pre-screen. I can see my loan terms once again. I see that gap is added. This is the second location that you can place those embedded cross-sell. So if I didn't pick gap at the front, you have another chance to hook them in right before they submit, where you can again show either protection products or those wildcard products here. I could again have someone follow up with me about warranty or credit life. And then when I hit continue, this is where it's going to bring me ultimately to my credit union terms and conditions. Again, configurable by your credit union, and the consent for electronic documents and signatures. So as I submit this now, it is going over to your LOS. You would be able to decide what queue that's going to hit based on different rules and logic. For Meridian Link clients, we have bidirectional integration, so we are able to render a decision right within the experience. So you can see here for Savannah, she's approved. She gets that congratulatory message, and then also has a space for the credit union to have configurable next steps. So if she's going to see an email next, or she's going to get a phone call within a certain period of time, that can be listed here as well. But that real-time decisioning is really cool because it does especially for the pre-screened members, or for credit unions that have done a lot of work to do automated decisioning. They can get that satisfaction of the decision right in line. If it doesn't come back approved, it will say, hey, thanks for your application, or thanks for your redemption. We'll follow up with you again in a certain period of time. This is the third spot to cross-sell. So I mentioned there's 3 spots in the redemption flow for lending products. The first at the beginning of the redemption experience, the second right before I submit, and then the third right after I submit. So this would be a good spot to put any wildcards where you're planning to link someone out somewhere else. So if you have, an education page that you want to direct someone to, or another product page within your digital assets at the credit union to bring someone to. This is also where, if you are a TruStage term life insurance customer, we can market the term life product. So for you life insurance customers of TruStage, another opportunity for non-interest earning income here, where we can bring them through a quote experience if that is something they're interested in as well. So then back to the offers, you'll see that redemption that I just went through is now marked as redeemed. And I can apply for other loan products if I'm interested in that, or I can search through the rest of the storefront to see if there's anything meaningful. But again, pretty quick experience since we already did that pre-screen with the Bureau for this lending product. For Savannah to just answer a couple of questions, and again, get that automated approval message. Okay, so that was all that I had for a demo. I'm interested to see if there are any questions in the chat. Oh, I see one. How to get this implemented, related costs. Yes, so we do have an implementation team, as you would expect for any digital product. The timeline of implementation from start to finish, it's for net new customers, it's about 3 months, but it's not like 3 months of like full-on engaged time. There'll be a kickoff, and then there will be some strategy sessions of what are you trying to accomplish with your campaign, which will drive then what products you want to offer. We'll work with you on pulling out that core information so you can personalize the offers and make sure it feels really curated to those different types of personas at your credit union. We'll work with you on the pre-screen with the Bureau if that's something that you have not done previously, and then we'll get you live. So from start to finish, it's about 12 weeks, but again, it is not like 12 weeks of full-time work. And then in terms of cost, you can either connect with Dean, who can get you in touch with me, and we can do a more in-depth demo and review of what options we have available. But also, if you're looking to get right to our salesperson, his name is Jim. and his contact info will be in this deck. Any other questions, either about the digital storefront product or any thoughts around some of those survey results that I shared earlier about campaigns and marketing challenges? Interested to hear your thoughts from the group.
You can unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can type it in the chat and I can ask it for you. So lines are open.
I think there was a question, can I get a copy of this? Sure. I'll get the copy of the deck to Dean, and then I think since this is recorded, it'll go out in the normal channels for these webinars.
Yes, we'll announce it in our newsletter, and then it will be posted on the website for folks to view. So you'll have access to both the deck and the recording. Any questions at all? I guess we have a shy group today. Right. Sam, I want to thank you for your time this afternoon. Thanks for sharing the content. It seems very user-friendly for credit unions to get started and to reach out directly to those members that they have already segmented and want to do those personal invites to. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly or to Jim, whose information is on the slide deck, and I can get you in touch with the right people. So I want to thank you again for your time this afternoon and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.